promised me he'd tell me the truth. He was honest about the fact that he didn't always feel love for me. Feelings come and go. But when he promised me he'd keep telling me the truth, I felt something new. I started to learn what the ring of truth in the body feels like. Telling the truth is not simple. It involves looking inside ourselves, overcoming ego and shame, saying things that might be hard to hear. It involves looking beyond ourselves, getting humble. Steve's promise to keep telling me the truth rang more true to me when he was not afraid to ask for help, nor too proud or insecure to receive it. My fear that marriage would suffocate, paralyze, and limit me moved over as this expanding conversation took me to new places that I wanted to go. And when the ring of truth reverberated in me, I got more free, not less. I wanted this conversation to continue. One evening, I gave my fears the steering wheel, telling him we were wrong for each other. We argued about politics. We came from different countries, cultures, demographics. All right then, he said, I guess it will never work. I walked home alone and unsettled, still spinning, arguing, and ranting all on my own. 3 days later, after talking with wise friends, I brought a deeper yes to the conversation and more openness to where it might lead, and thankfulness that Steve was willing to pick it up again. The next stretch was deep and often difficult as I grieved a devastating loss. We worked through visas, jobs, finances, where to live. When we each got both feet in at the same time, and it took some doing, what I said yes to was this: a conversation without end, and a process of learning to feel truth ring inside of me. So that's how I said yes to marriage. It's also how I said yes to this campaign. But first, how is it that our marriage didn't mean giving up my own ambitions, passions, and ways of being in the world when I had been so afraid it would, based on what I had seen and known? From the start, Steve and I have held the idea that each of us is on the planet to be of service in some unique way, here to do and be something only I can, because no one but me can be my best self. Something needed in the world that also gives meaning, purpose, and joy to my life. I discovered that knowing joy requires me to learn who I really am and to love all parts of me. Another story for another day, perhaps, but today's story is about how our shared understanding of purpose has guided and anchored our conversation for 30 years, maybe especially when we hit hard spots. Our egos colliding. From pre-engagement through marriage, kids, grad school, my clinical training, building our businesses, to this year's adventure in politics, considering higher purpose has helped me navigate the both and individual creativity and usefulness in an expanding and satisfying marriage. When we were emerging from the hurricane years of raising 2 young children, an older couple mentored us, adding justice, equality, and faith to our shared purpose. They said it this way: we believe we are called to our individual callings and we are called to our marriage. So when apparent conflict emerges between these, we trust that it will be resolved in some way, and we look for and open to that way. Opening to that way is our starting point for Steve and me, the question for our conversation, and my yes is an answer to that ongoing question. Steve has not shied away from what it means to husband me. Becoming a couples therapist required me to deepen my partnership with him and prodded us both to grow personally. We go through periods of dissonance, struggle, and greater separateness, getting stronger and more clear in ourselves and in our individual sense of purpose. Patience, reflection, and prayer. Then we find the big stretches that are possible as we open to the resolution, holding both of us in it, each of us whole and called to serve. the steady rhythm of our honest conversation between us, pulsing continually like a heartbeat. When I first went back to school full-time, we moved to Guelph, and Steve found work afterwards, commuting for several years. He tells me often, in words and in many actions, of his commitment to my purpose, his valuing of my life's work. When he wanted my support to run for MP, I was almost all the way to yes. But there was another piece. Many good, wise people have helped us stay in conversation with each other, to pick it back up when we couldn't find our voices or our ears, when I couldn't feel much of anything in my body, let alone the ring of truth. We have been supported and privileged in many other ways too. Privilege doesn't mean we haven't gone through hard things, but it means we haven't faced many barriers that others are forced to. And we believe that the only appropriate use of power and privilege is to empower others without voice. When Steve wanted to run for MP, two other things nudged my conscience to yes. First, the documentary Letting Go of the World and Loving the Things That Climate Can't Change helped me want to join the courageous, creative, and often much less privileged people around the globe doing everything in their power to turn the tide on our terrifying planetary trajectory. Second, in an interview titled "Before It's Too Late, Avoiding Climate Disaster," Mary Christina Wood reached into my heart and challenged me to take up my power in service of the most vulnerable. In her words, if we come together to confront this unprecedented peril with everyone stepping up to contribute, we just might transform our present political divisiveness into a unified effort. If you were at the edge of a river and saw a small child drowning, you would jump in and rescue that child. I think we all would. Well, there are children in that river. It's my children, it's your children, it's everybody's children, and they are drowning. We need to jump in. As Helen Keller said, I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. My life this year has become a whirlwind of action, pressure, and change. I believe this whirlwind is, in fact, the shared reality of we who inhabit Earth, whether we face it or not. And I'm in this with the man I love, saying yes to all of it. How did I say yes? Our conversation is the how. It takes a moment to say yes, but to live that yes takes time. And it takes safety and time to feel the truth permeating the relationship. Like the idea of getting married, we talked about the possibility of him running for MP a lot, the campaign pace and pressures, being in the public eye, changes at home. If he won, more changes, travel, time apart. Yes, I had some trepidation. The demands on me would be significant. I married him because I like talking to him. And some days we don't have time to talk. It was a huge ask. I may not have been game without decades of Steve supporting me to become who I am here to be. It's an ask that without all that personal growth work, we may not have had the skills to navigate, or one that I might have lost myself in. But in the context of justice, equality, faith, and higher purpose, it draws from me an unequivocal answer. Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I will. Steve, before we knew each other, at our very beginnings, it was the sincere honesty and genuine spirit of your presence while you gave a short speech that first caught my eye. Justice and democracy have been of critical importance to both of us throughout this 30-year conversation. I can feel that now it's time to bring this conversation to the world. Thank you.